Frolic.
Does she have a meadow that Becca can frolic around in?
Familiarize.
Know your evacuation route and familiarize yourself with it.
Slapstick.
Everybody's looking at me, aren't they?
Just the slapstick fans.
Inaccurate.
But what he wrote was inaccurate, and inaccuracies can't go unanswered.
Disinter.
Developers normally have to obtain a license for every buried body they wish to disinter.
Significance.
Such a gift has great significance.
Commute.
Roughly 85% of American workers commute by car.
Unspoiled.
At that time, Olduvai was totally unspoiled.
Commercialization.
They discourage couples from getting caught up in the commercialization of Valentine's Day.
Kernel.
Every kernel of corn, me. Every grain of rice, me.
Purist.
We are very purist. We don't want to see this packaged in plastic.
Befall.
Know only that no harm can befall you whilst I am here.
Streak.
What rosy streaks were beginning to brighten the east.
Mendicant.
I dared to put off the mendicant, to resume my natural manner and character.
Digression.
John Rance appeared to be somewhat irritated at this digression.
Vacancy.
I reckon there's a job vacancy coming up.
Accompaniment.
Then, Jane, you must play the accompaniment.
Superstition.
When animals die in strange ways, superstitions can run wild.
Fiasco.
After the talent show fiasco, I figured I never had to play the piano again.
Chuckle.
He chuckled at his own joke.
Circumlocution. Avenger.
At midnight, Zorro and the Avengers meet at the lake.
Deterrence.
But deterrence is not why I believe in the death penalty.
Mitigate.
Let me see how we can mitigate the danger.
Sternly.
This, she said sternly, is what we believe.
Actuality.
In actuality, the first of your victims was a suspect in Shinjuku.
Gamut.
Causes of accidental fires run the gamut.
Eclectic.
Yeah, it was a very eclectic mix of songs from a number of times and genres.
Refund.
Well, are you sure you can get a refund on the deposit?
Conspicuously.
Women were conspicuously absent from the planning committee, equals not present on it, when they should have been.
Hydraulic.
Your brakes work on hydraulic power.
Beguile.
It's designed to beguile me, tease me, and lure me in.
Kit.
Where do you keep the first aid kit?
Pedestrian.
The path is for pedestrians only.
Verity.
That smoking is injurious to health is a scientifically established verity.
Untenable.
Plainly, the current situation is untenable. The housing market is broken.
Consonants.
This self-effacement in both directions had been quite in consonance with her independent character of desiring nothing by way of favour or pity to which she was not entitled on a fair consideration of her deserts.
Stake.
I'm prepared to offer you 50% of my stake in the company.
Charlatan.
The charlatan saw that the time had come to take his treasure and flee.
Detector.
Your Honor, he passed a lie detector.
Idly.
Settle down, said Professor Snape idly.
Confident.
She's really grown into a confident young woman.
Duet.
A duet is when two voices join to become one.
Fishery.
My dad was a fisheries biologist for the States.
Fort.
1600 years ago, a fort stood at the top of this hill.
Defiant.
Federal police said Mr. Pozos was defiant after his arrest.
Inglorious.
Remove her from this chamber before she infects us further with her inglorious and shabby self.
Suggestive.
Some suggestive evidence does exist, though.
Bluster.
In the name of God, blustered Gerald.
Amplitude.
Can control frequency and amplitude.
Indignation.
I'm not putting them on, said old Archie in indignation.
Crux.
We are now at the crux of the whole matter, aren't we?
Conceive.
Because I cannot conceive of a life without you.
Punitive.
We were asking for $400,000 in compensatory damages and $8 million in punitive damages.
Concentrate.
And I have trouble concentrating sometimes in class.
Expound.
Monsieur Poirot is expounding some extremely entertaining theories.
Minimalism.
He spent the next 20 minutes telling me about something called minimalism.
Advisor.
You're the President's National Security Advisor.
Nuptial.
And like the nuptial antler, your bond will never be broken.
Aberrant.
There have been no other reports of aberrant behavior among any abnormals worldwide.
Stability.
They want to focus on long-term economic stability and growth.
Poignancy.
The poignancy of parting and separation.
Pomegranate.
The biggest truffles are called pomegranates.
Borough.
Donald Trump was born in Queens, a borough of New York City.
Contentious.
And Henry, your property development can get very contentious.
Hypothesis.
Do you have any evidence to support that hypothesis?
Savior.
Then made him stay with me because he saw me as a savior.
Warren.
The whole place smells like a rabbit warren.
Stink.
Oh, Chandler, you stink of cigarettes!
Convey.
Please convey my apologies to Monsieur Ackley.
Moonlit.
Come on, somebody promised me a moonlit skate.
Undergo.
You can't eat anything because you're about to undergo major surgery.
Composer.
Mozart, you are not the only composer in Vienna.
Bask.
He is a giant lizard basking in the sun.
Plow.
Not a one of these ever pulled a plough. Cause bear witness if I'm wrong.
Takeoff.
You must not use your mobile devices during takeoff.
Mortify.
Lizzie, you must not do so. You must not suspect me. It mortifies me.
Neutron.
The nucleus of an atom is composed of neutrons and protons.
Downcast.
Very sad and downcast were the two poor little fellows as they stood and looked at each other.
Nightmare.
I had another chalk nightmare. It was awful.
Uncharted.
It's like sailing over the edge of the sea into uncharted waters.
Servitude.
I may be a maid, but there are limits to my servitude.
Plague.
Immigrant black rats off the boats brought with them the plague.
Gambler.
My father was a gambler. He was always broke.
Pterodactyl.
Just imagine pterodactyls flying overhead.
Metropolis.
Today, it is a prosperous international metropolis.
Insanely.
He is insanely jealous.
Divination.
During the Shang dynasty, divination was very important.
Denunciation.
Unnatural was the word which rang through the denunciations.
Glum.
With nobody to talk to, Bob felt a little glum.
Pensive.
I don't know, said Hermione, looking pensive.
Audacious.
They had audacious ideas but are dauntless to make a change.
Carnival.
People were eating, drinking. It was a carnival atmosphere.
Invade.
Hitler invaded Poland from the west.
Subjectivity.
You don't have to say I think. You don't have to use your own subjectivity.
Cusp.
Good word, cusp. Satisfying, cusp.
Locomote.
We find plants moving and animals moving as well as locomoting.
Palpable.
The excitement in her voice is palpable.
Ascribable.
Their success is ascribable to the quality of their goods.
Dehydrate.
She's going to dehydrate. Christina, do you want some water?